and gentlemen, that South India is crazy about its film stars is a story that is well known. And when it comes to Allu Arjun and his super hit franchisee Pushpa, the craze transcends geography and rational behavior. So as Pushpa 2 released today, breaking some records on the way, just by the way, Allu Arjun's fandom has descended at 12,000 screens worldwide to see the film, yes, but more importantly, to see their star. And here is what it has led to. You'll see the pictures in just a bit. A fan, by mistake, set off a fire inside a theatre in Nalgonda. In Hyderabad, a woman was killed in a stampede at the Sandhya theatre when Allu Arjun showed up for the premiere, leading to complete chaos. Apparently, he showed up without any warning. The woman's 13-year-old son right now is fighting for his life. Now, the superstars team is saying they are heartbroken. They are providing financial help for the child's treatment, but the family has nevertheless gone ahead and filed an FIR. What was to be, and probably will be, a year-end celebration for Indian cinema is now also raising an important question. Hero worship is one thing, but how does one explain toxic fan culture that ends up killing a woman and sending her son to the ICU? Ladies and gentlemen, as we debate that story, there's a big piece of breaking news coming in on the day that his film Pushpa 2 has been released. Allu Arjun and his secretary both have been booked by the Hyderabad police. This for a stampede at the Sandhya theatre that happened yesterday that ended up killing a woman and putting a 13-year-old son in hospital. We are being told he's critical. Now, Allu Arjun's team has already said that they are financially helping the boy in his medical treatment, but the family had filed an FIR, and based on that, Allu Arjun, the star who has seen his film Pushpa 2 released today, and his secretary both have been booked by the police. Big piece of news coming in. My guest this evening, Taran Adarsh, is a film critic joining us on the broadcast. YG Madhumanti is an actress joining us on the broadcast as well. And Manoj Desai is the executive director of G7 Multiplex and Maratha Mandir joining us. Thank you all very much. Taranji, namaskar. You know, we had called you for the numbers actually to ask you how Pushpa 2 is doing. But I need to start by asking you whether you think it is justified for Allu Arjun to be booked for the stampede that happened at Sandhya Theatre. Because the charge is that he and his team simply failed to inform the theatre before they were coming. And that is why they couldn't make the arrangements that were required to be made.
To be very honest, I would not be able to comment on this because this is a legal matter. But having said that, I would like to add here, since you're the topic of discussion and you've called me, invited me to discuss the box office potential and of course the phenomena called Pushpa 2 at the box office. Well, I just need to express my opinion about the film. It is rocking the box office. It is doing phenomenal business, not just in India, but across the globe. And I feel that the film is going to be a humongous hit. You know, from east to west, from north to south, from metros to non-metros to mass pockets, the film is doing extraordinary business. It has the potential, and as the trends are looking right now, it should be, I must add that, the day is not yet over, it should be the highest opening day ever for a Hindi film. Highest opening day ever for a film that has released on a non-holiday or a non-festival. And highest opening day ever for a film that is dubbed in Hindi. So it's going to shatter, one film is going to shatter 3 records at one go on its opening day, which is phenomenal. This is in India. Now let's go international. In the US, of course, as we all know, it's taken a fantabulous opening, or how do I put it this way? In India, there's a tsunami, there's a typhoon there. In the morning, early morning, I got a call from the Australia distributor. He said, you know, in fact, 3-4 days back, he sent me a message saying that, you know, Pushpa 2 is, in terms of pre-sales, that is advance booking, is the highest ever. I repeat the term, highest ever for an Indian film in Australia. Now, look at the contradiction here. You know, the Bollywood filmmakers feel that, oh, mass films don't work in metros, they don't work in multiplexes. Who's interested in watching them? These films are meant for the smaller centers, for the mass pockets. And overseas, yeah, ऐसी फिल्में नहीं चलती. They argue, these kind of films don't work in overseas. But Pushpa has shattered that myth. That mindset needs to change in Bollywood. And I think that's the reason why the South film industry, I'm sorry, I'm compartmentalizing right now, but the fact is that the Telugu film industry is taking rapid strides and is light years ahead of Bollywood.
Okay, so can I ask you, you've just told me that Pushpa 2 is on its way to breaking 3 opening day records, right?
Yes.
Can I
yes.
ask you, based on that, whether you think Pushpa 2 will perhaps be the highest grossing Indian film in history, or is that too much of a ask?
Okay, ma'am, since you just asked me, are we talking of the lifetime collections or the day one collections? Well, if the day one collection, yes, it should be.
I'm talking about the lifetime collections, sir.
Lifetime collections, well, it's a bit too early right now because, as I said, we are just on the first day. And if you ask this question even to the distributor, perhaps you would not have an answer. Even the producers would not have an answer. Because tufan aaya hai, tsunami aayi hai. Let me put it that way. And it's great news for the exhibition sector, the theatre people, because after a long time, they are reaping the house. They are enjoying the house. They are seeing the houseful boards after a long time. It has come from a Telugu film which has been dubbed in Hindi. I'm not denying that. But the fact that people are walking into theaters, the exhibition sector has been bleeding this year, and since past couple of years, post-pandemic. And as we all know, I'm sure you've read in the papers as well, that, the single screens have been shutting down. But I guess, I hope, and I pray that, in times to come, the theaters reopen and start screening films which are so important for the survival of the exhibition sector. These films bring in the audience. These films bring in the revenue. These films make you dream big in the future.
Okay, can I then quickly ask you in conclusion before I go to my other guests and discuss the piece of breaking news that is just coming in? Taranji, if I just compare Pushpa 2 to the other film, the Hindi film that has done very well. Of course, 3-2 has done very well, but so has Animal, for example. But when you look at the films that Bollywood produces and the heroes it produces, the heroes are ultra rich, they are very refined, they know how to wear that tie, etc. It's a very urban, upper middle class, super rich image, people who only move in helicopters that is portrayed. At least the heroes I have seen in the last couple of years. Is this where Pushpa and films like Pushpa are getting it right? That वो rags to riches वाली story जो पुराने ज़माने में होती थी, उसमें अभी भी दम है. वो अभी भी aspirational है.
You're so right, ma'am. I just wish to add here that, as you rightly said, we are making those kind of films which cater to the urban, the elite, the urban audiences in the metros. And I think that's where we are going wrong somewhere. Because I feel that, there's more to cinema, there's more to business than metros or making those metro-centric kind of films. Who are we making these films for? 4 or 5 metros? 4 or 5, a couple of multiplexes, high-end multiplexes in the country? What about the mass pockets? What about the Hindi circuits? What about those people who want to watch entertainers, but we are not giving them those entertainers? That's the reason why the downfall is starting. And I hope we learn a lesson. It's high time we wake up and smell coffee. The Bollywood people need to smell coffee. That's very important.
Okay. Taranji, thank you. I'll let you go because I do understand that you have a certain hesitation speaking about the latest news developments that have happened. But thank you very much for your perspective, at least on the numbers you're telling us. As far as the numbers are concerned, day one numbers are concerned, Pushpa 2 on its way to breaking at least 3 records. Thank you, Adarshji. Vaji Madhuvanti, thank you very much for your patience. Manoj Desai, thank you very much for your patience. Madhuvanti ji, I'm going to start with you. News is just coming in that on the day that perhaps Allu Arjun has delivered his biggest hit in his lifetime, there is also now an FIR against him. He too has been charged in the death of a woman, or at least an FIR has been lodged in the death of a woman who died during a stampede at the Sandhya Theatre. This happened yesterday. And it happened because the police says that no one was prepared for Allu Arjun to come there. When a star is coming, there's a certain security that is required. Allu Arjun's team failed to inform the theatre owners, and the theatre owners are saying we didn't have time. I want to ask you whether it is right or wrong for the police to be booking the star, because after all, many people can argue, isme Allu Arjun ki kya galti thi? What was his fault?
Good evening, Shreya, and thank you for having me on your debate. Allu Arjun and his family are personally very well known to me. So I can definitely let you know one point categorically that Allu Arjun is not the kind who will just go unprepared or unannounced to a theatre. That's not how he or his family operates. This is definitely solely the responsibility of the theatre owners and the police to take care of such things. You cannot blame it on the star. I mean, you have to understand if he goes there, people are going to come and, there is going to be a stampede because you've seen the kind of hype that Pushpa has created even before the release. I mean, there have been pre-release events happening in cities like Patna, which was unheard of. I mean, I have not seen a Telugu film go to Patna for a pre-release. I've never heard of something like that. And I come from a film family, one of the premier film families back home in Tamil Nadu. And I know this. My uncle, Mr. Rajinikanth, we have seen several such openings, several such, the fans going crazy about their superstar. So we know what this is. And there is no way I will not agree if you say that Allu Arjun came there unprepared or unannounced. I mean, definitely news would have come. I don't think people had enough time, or I don't know what the police was doing or what the theatre owners were doing. They were unprepared. I completely understand that part. But to book it and blame it on the star, I think is a little too far-fetched. And it's very unfortunate that on a day when he has actually created history, something like this is happening.
Okay, so the charge against Allu Arjun and his security team is that they didn't inform the police. This is according to the police, Manoj Desai, that they didn't inform the police to make additional deployment at the theatre to manage the crowd. Manoj Desai, Madhuvanti ji, who has seen big releases and big stars and their fans up close, is saying you can't blame the star. The theatre owner has to take the blame for what happened at the Sandhya Theatre, for the death of that woman. Do you agree?
Would like to say, because today what I have done that has been never happened before from last, I can say Asia or India, I had 18 shows running in my 6th theatre. My 6th theatre, that is Gaiety, Galaxy, Gemini, Glamour, Gem, Gossip. 6 theatre were running Allu Arjun's film, and believe me, we were very much prepared from last 2 days for the security and other things. And there were thousands of people, those who came to see the movie in 6th theatre. And we treated very well. And it was our great experience to have a house full. 18 shows house full in one day, in one multiplex, that is Gaiety Galaxy, G7 multiplex. What else you required? But you should prepare yourself. We were preparing ourselves from last 2 days. How we are going to do, how we are going to arrange. And we have done it.
Okay. So you are saying that essentially then don't blame Allu Arjun. The the Hyderabad police should not be dragging him into this case, because you believe it is the failure of the theatre owner, not the star, right?
Theatre owners or theatre staff or theatre management or theatre executives, which I am having. I have 3 to 4 executives with me, those who are working. And we regularly, all promotion takes place in our Gaiety Galaxy cinema only. So we are experienced. But you should do one thing. You should mind one thing. You should know how many people is going to come, from where they are going to come, and how our security guard should be posted. And that's what we have done it. And we enjoyed today. All the 18 shows.
Okay. Madhuvanti ji, congratulations that in today you've had a house full. board after many months. So many congratulations to you. I hope the film goes ahead and breaks all records. After all, it will be good for India's film industry. It will give
Absolutely.
probably more employment to more people, more films will be made. But Madhuvanti ji, I want to ask you then in conclusion, will this be a bittersweet day today then for Allu Arjun and his family, given the fact that he's probably, at least according to what Mr. Taran Adarsh is saying, he's probably delivered the biggest film of his career. And on the same day, he has an FIR registered against him for the death of a fan, no less but a fan.
I'm sure Allu Arjun and his family are not going to be happy about the fact that a death occurred on the day of such a big release in his career. But at the same time, they know how to handle it with dignity, with poise and grace. My only point here is it's unfair to blame him for this debacle, because it is not his fault if he delivers such a super hit. Because like you rightly said, it's going to provide jobs, it's going to provide a lot of revenue for the theatre owners. The very same Sandhya Theatre where this whole episode has happened is not going to stop screening the film because this happened, which means the revenue is going to come in there as well. So this is going to be one of the biggest as per what Mr. Taran Adarsh says, if this is going to be the biggest blockbuster in Indian cinema, then I think it's a great hit and a great success for Allu and his family. But at the same time, I am sure they will deal with the situation and they will do what is right. And they will definitely cooperate with the law and the officials. They are not the kind that they're going to go rebelling like how he does in the movie character. That's not Allu Arjun. That's just the character Pushpa.
Okay, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much, Madhuvanti ji, for joining us on the broadcast. Manoj Desai, we'll leave it there. I'm out of time. Thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening, all indication that Pushpa 2, that has seen its official release today, has broken at least 3 opening day records and is well on its way to making many more. We'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. Good night to all of you. My colleague Shreya Dhoundial up next with the top stories at the top of 9. Do stay with us.